Well, here at Arrowfield, we take the business of stallion selection very seriously indeed. And I have to be completely convinced that any stallion we take on has a maximum chance of becoming highly successful in our own country here in Australia. After all, if I'm not prepared to send 20 of our own mares to him each season, how can I possibly expect other breeders to support him as well? So when GIO Ponti crossed our radar, we did an enormous amount of homework on him, as an individual, on his race record, on his pedigree, and the more we found out about him, the more excited we became. GIO Ponti is a horse we just had to have as a racehorse of the highest order from the great Stormcat sire line and an outstanding family. And on top of all that, an individual you'll find very hard to fault. Our bloodstock manager, Jon Freyer, followed GIO Ponti's career especially closely and inspected him in Kentucky before we sealed the deal. And now John's got plenty of interesting things to say about this horse.
GIO Ponti was an outstanding racehorse, amongst the best American turf horses of all time. He won 7 Grade 1 races, he won over $6 million in prize money, and he took home 3 Eclipse Awards.
And GIO Ponti comes away with the lead. GIO Ponti the winner over a star-studded field to win the Man of War by 2.
He won his first start as a 2-year-old very impressively. He won his second start in a stakes race, and he was well fancied in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, where he was a little unlucky. As a 3-year-old, he was a very impressive winner of a number of stakes races, and as a 4-year-old, he was nigh on unbeatable. He won 4 consecutive Grade 1 races, including the Manhattan, the Arlington Million, the Kilroe Mile, some of the best races on American turf.
They're coming inside the final 16th. Here is GIO Ponti, just as well as charging hard. Stotsfold is third. GIO Ponti adds the million to his Grade 1 collection.
He won the Shadwell Turf Mile at Keeneland in consecutive years, 2010 and 2011. His win in 2010 was a particularly hollow victory against some high-class horses. He returned in 2011 for a brilliant victory, which concluded a wonderful career.
Final 16th of the Shadwell Turf Mile, GIO Ponti, Wise Dan, charging after Get Stormy. GIO Ponti from the outside. How about that?
Very few horses win 1 Eclipse Award. The horses that have won 3 Eclipse Awards include horses such as Seattle Slew, Secretariat, Damascus and Buck Passer. So he ranks amongst the greats of all time in American racing. If you compare him, his time form rating of 130, it ranks him superior to recent Cox Plate winners like Northerly, Sunline, Maccabi Diva, horses of that ilk. So if breeders think of him as that style of horse, a weight for age horse that goes into a Cox Plate as maybe a $2.50 favourite, that's the sort of career that this horse fashioned for himself in America. He's from an Alydar mare, and it's a very solid family. His grandmother was a Grade 1 winner, and there's some great horses in the family, most notably the legendary Cigar. In our initial analysis of GIO Ponti, we of course examined Tail of the Cat very closely. We know he was a great racehorse, and he comes from a wonderful Claiborne family by the great Stormcat. When we looked at his stud career, we were interested to discover, in fact, he has a 10.9% stakes performance to foals. Now, to put that in some perspective, that ranks him above horses of the calibre of Exceed and Excel, Lonhro, Commands, High Chaparral, and really only places him behind such horses as Fastnet Rock, More Than Ready, and Redute's Choice, who's the benchmark at 15.2%. In recent years, there's been a number of Grade 1 winners bred on the Danehill Stormcat Cross, most notably Fox Wedge, Absolutely, Irish Lights in recent times, and quite a few overseas as well. So we see this GIO Ponti as a potential outcross that will suit those lines that we have in abundance in Australia. GIO Ponti is a magnificent horse. Most people that see him would agree that he is one of the best looking horses you would see. He stands around 16'1", lovely head, wonderful rein, deep girth and shoulder, very attractive, very correct, and a lovely moving horse, very athletic. GIO Ponti was extremely well received by breeders in Kentucky this season. In fact, within 7 days of him retiring, he was fully booked, and 7 days after that he had 150 mares on a waiting list. He's covering some wonderful mares. In fact, he has 32 stakes-winning mares and 40 stakes-producing mares in his first book, including, I might add, the dam of the recent Kentucky Derby winner and Preakness winner, I'll Have Another.
We're very mindful of the financial pressure on breeders this year. So we've set all our stallion fees at levels that simply remove the pricing decision. That very much applies to GIO Ponti, who stands at $22,000 including GST, a tremendous opportunity to access a horse who meets all of our criteria and who will receive Arrowfield's total backing.